The Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Drake Toll with you from the Savannah Bananas organization. Locked on Big 12 and right here on the Drake Toll Show. You can listen live on Sirius XM 375, the Drake Toll Show YouTube channel, or the Westwood One Sports app all morning long. Addie Bates produces, Laura Jimenez runs the board, and the Dallas Cowboys just paid that man. Quinnen Williams signs a contract extension with the Cowboys, and now they have locked in the best defensive player on the team, the same Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle for the New York Jets, who came to the Dallas Cowboys last season and reinvented defense on the NFL's worst defense. He was the one highlight the Cowboys had on that side of the ball, and now he is locked in as a Dallas Cowboy through 2030. Here's the deal. The first question that you may ask from this is, well, does this mean, Quinnen Williams being locked in? Does it mean the Dallas Cowboys, they're willing to pay, and they're willing to pay the highest end of the roster? Because AAV, annual value, this is the second highest paid defensive lineman in the entire NFL now, only behind the Eagles, Jalen Carter. Quinnen Williams got paid. So your first questions probably surround Quinnen Williams, the 6'3", 300-pound big man out of Alabama. And if you look at defensive tackle, because you think, okay, he's 28 years old, you just signed him you just added 3 years to his deal, and, well, he's 2030s when you locked him in through. I mean, that's he's going to be pretty old. He'll be 33 years old. Is that? No. Defensive tackle is exactly what you want. Where your prime, your running back might be 24, 25, 26 years old. Your defensive tackles, you get them up to 28, 29, 30 in that range. These seasoned vets, they become themselves. And Quinnen Williams is a Dallas Cowboy long-term. But hey, me over here, question Drake Toll with you, the Drake Toll Show, 310-840-4910. Where's George Pickens in all of this? Maybe that's the question. If we're going to read between the lines of Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys, let's go pay our guy. 3-year extension, $105.9 million. Lock in Quinnen Williams through 2030. $35.3 million a year. $101 million guaranteed. Come on, guys. It's me. It's your old boy Jerry. I did it. I paid the guy. I had an opportunity to pay him, and we thought that it would be good for our franchise if we had him on the defensive line long term. So we went out and got a deal done. But what about George Pickens? Your team-friendly deal for the Dallas Cowboys, where Quinnen Williams didn't have to ask for the exact same amount of money as Jalen Carter, for a team that already knew, hey, it's going to be a lot of capital to bring in Quinnen Williams from the Jets, 2026 second rounder, a 2027 first rounder. Nazi Smith as well. Like you knew bringing him in, all right, this could be a long-term play for us. You're committed to Quinnen Williams. And now you're double committed with a 3-year extension. You already had him for the next couple of years. Let's extend him. And this money doesn't come into play until 2030, 2028. She got some time to play with, cap space-wise. And your team-friendly deal with Quinnen Williams raises my question again. What about George Pickens? The guy we've been asking about, money for, contracts for, will you pay that guy, was not Quinnen Williams. I knew the Dallas Cowboys had at least a couple more years of Quinnen Williams before you needed to get a deal done. Team friendly? For sure. Ahead of schedule? For sure. Are those bad things? No. But where's George Pickens? Do you know where your George Pickens is? Let's dive into this. It is the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, 310-840-4910. You can call or text the show. Did the Dallas Cowboys pay the wrong guy? You can text me individually right now, 310-840-4910. Did the Dallas Cowboys pay the wrong guy? Well, if you asked, say, C.D. Lamb, he would say that's the case across the board. I think personally, anytime the Dallas Cowboys pay a cent to a player on the team, I'm looking at George Pickens and saying, hey, wait a second, you might have a top 10 wide receiver in the National Football League, and you're not paying that guy. You have a 25-year-old wide receiver in his prime named George Pickens, who last season had 93 receptions, career high, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns. You might have a top 10 wide receiver in the league. There are reports out of Oxnard and training camp that George Pickens looks better than CeeDee Lamb. So you would think, right, that George Pickens, a guy who's been franchise tagged by the Dallas Cowboys instead of a long-term deal being worked out and something that's extended over the course of his career, you could think, well, shoot, man, it must be because CeeDee Lamb, this all-pro, world-beating wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, probably doesn't want to share the goods with another wide receiver, doesn't want to be part of one of these wide receiver tandems like they have in Cincinnati. But that's anything further from the truth. I'm sure we can make a way, CeeDee Lamb said. I know it's going to be crazy, but let's figure out a way to pay George Pickens. Lamb has been the one sitting here begging Jerry Jones to pay Pickens as the wide receiver too, as the guy to sit across from CeeDee Lamb. But Jerry Jones won't bite. Jerry Jones wants to pay Quinnen Williams. Did the Dallas Cowboys pay the wrong guy? 310-840-4910. CeeDee Lamb says, I'm sure we can make a way. Listen, this is my advocation. Jerry, can you please figure out a way? Let's take you to CeeDee Lamb. Because if there's any question mark here around why George Pickens did not see a payday, but Quinnen Williams did, maybe it's that attitude. I would say this. So can I insider baseball you here? I'm not the radio host. I'm not going to be the radio host that for the next 4 months of the year gets on here and says, my Dallas Cowboys have done it. I am a Cowboys guy. My Cowboys, my team, the NFL franchise that I root for has done it. They've won this time. I don't need to do that. I don't need to spew my own personal leanings on you. But as personally a Cowboys fan, I look at this and I wonder, okay, let's build my big board, my big conspiracy board of why George Pickens has not been paid, of why Quinnen Williams can get a 3-year, $105.9 million extension when he still had a couple years in his current contract. You didn't have to do this. You're locking him in long term. You're giving him security with a team-friendly deal. He's still making $4 million less a year than Jalen Carter for the Eagles, so he's not asking to be the highest paid guy in the NFL. I think you won there if you're Dallas. You won there by saving $4 million a year. So what is it about George Pickens that makes you not like him? What is it about George Pickens that makes you say, I don't need him. It's just not meh. If we need to, we can franchise tag him and figure this thing out later. Could it be a history of off-field, on-field issues? Gotta be, right? Gotta be. The only thing I can point to is it's not production. His production's top 10 in the National Football League based on what he did in Dallas his first year last year. But it's the fact that George Pickens has this like dark cloud around him of bad guy, locker room cancer. You can't pay him. You can't trust him long term. George Pickens he's too violent. And he has been in the past, by the way. I mean, he was suspended for the SEC championship game when he was in college, playing for the Georgia Bulldogs, and he got into a fight against Georgia Tech the week prior. Kirby Smart called the behavior silly, selfish, undisciplined. Then he goes to the Steelers in the National Football League. He accumulates $17,000 worth of fines in a single game against the Rams. Unnecessary roughness, taunting, and reports indicated that total fines for his season quickly crossed 6 figures. 2024, also in Pittsburgh, he faced ongoing scrutiny for the volatility of his emotions in the locker room. A fine for wearing unapproved eye black, bearing an expletive message, of course. Face mask penalties, on-field helmet removal tantrums, post-game skirmish with Cleveland Browns cornerback Greg Newsome II. This is all about George Pickens. You went and you paid Quinnen Williams, the Dallas Cowboys, 3 years, $105.9 million. Second highest paid defensive tackle in the league now. But you're refusing to pay George Pickens. Why? The answer to that why might just be everything I'm laying out for you right now. The Cowboys think he's a cancer. But what if he's not? Well, He walked into Dallas last year and had a relatively well-behaved season. He walked into Dallas last year and wasn't near the problem that I thought he would be. I expected, all right, hey, George Pickens comes into Dallas for a year, maybe 2 years, has 1,200 yards receiving, bang-up year, send him on his way. You can't keep him more than a season or it becomes a problem. However, that theory that George Pickens is a bad guy has started to fade. I just mentioned how CeeDee Lamb might not want to share the payday with another wide receiver in that room. No, he wants George Pickens paid. And you know why he wants him paid? Because George Pickens, in the eyes of CeeDee Lamb, is a good dude. Here is CeeDee Lamb advocating for my friend, George Pickens.
Bro, he's not a crash until he has a reason. I swear. He's a good dude. He's literally funny all the time, bro. He's funny all the time. Until he feels like, all right, somebody's trying to play with me. And then that's when you get the NFL young boy. And all.
That's CeeDee Lamb saying, don't freak out. Nobody be mad at George Pickens. He's not going to crash out unless he needs to crash out. Then it's deserved. Then you probably deserve for him to crash out on you. George is a good guy. Is George Pickens the guy who should have been paid? 310-840-4910. The call line, the text line are open. 310-840-4910. You can call or text the show. Did the Dallas Cowboys, in paying Quinnen Williams, pay the wrong guy? Well, I thought it was incredible reporting and an incredible question from 105.3 The Fan, one of our affiliates. When George Pickens joined the program, joined the station, and was asked himself about looking across the league and seeing wide receivers like Drake London or Zay Flowers, who are paid more than CeeDee Lamb, who are paid more than George Pickens. George, you've got to settle for a franchise tag when Zay Flowers for the Ravens or a Drake London for the Rams are getting a better payday than you and CeeDee, the same CeeDee who is outspoken on how much he loves George Pickens. So, George, hit me with it.
I feel like that's nice. I honestly feel like that's nice. Me personally, I think I kind of like the world speak for me, but me personally, I think I'm definitely in that range or above. Okay. But definitely for him and Lamar, and they lost Likely and how their whole deal is going, I feel like that's good for him.
We were worried about maybe not getting to see out here. Like, was there any serious talk about like a hold-in situation?
No, not really. Just more of because I was just focused on coming with the guys. Yeah. I kind of let my agent kind of do all of that. Sure. I was kind of really locked in on the guys because I don't want to be focused on that. Then they're focused on that because some of them still are. Yeah. And then no one's focused.
Does that sound like a bad guy? Does that guy sound like the locker room cancer, the problem guy that you can't pay? That we need to go pay Quinnen Williams. We need to go add 3 years to his deal. You already had Quinnen Williams till 2028. We need to go add 3 years to his deal now, and the cap will have more cap space. The cap will be larger when this sets in for Quinnen Williams, it'll be larger. So let's ensure that we extend his contract, but we're not going to take a cap hit until 2028 with this deal, and it's team friendly because he's not getting paid what Jalen Carter is getting paid. Come on, this is great news. But did the Cowboys pay the wrong guy? 310-840-4910 by giving Quinnen Williams a bag, a future bag, and still neglecting to pay George Pickens. You've heard from CeeDee Lamb. You heard CeeDee Lamb say he's a good guy, he's a nice guy, he should get paid. This is my advocation, Jerry Jones. Please pay George Pickens. You've heard George Pickens say, I'm happy for Zay Flowers. I'm happy for Drake London. I'm happy for these guys that got their bag. Good for them. And then I'm not going to hold in. I'm not going to make a stink about this. My agent will figure this out alongside the Dallas Cowboys. Pickens been pretty level-headed with it. CeeDee Lamb has been level-headed with it. Where's the one cog that we're missing in all of this? The owner, the general manager, the czar, the emperor of the Dallas Cowboys. In March, it's the last time Jerry Jones spoke at length about George Pickens. And you would think that Jerry Jones sees a guy who caught for nearly 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns last year, that it might behoove you to go deeper than a franchise tag and to actually sit down and work out something long-term with Pickens. But no, I don't think that he doesn't. Jerry doesn't work on the whims of us. He's not dialed in right now to the pulse of the fan base saying, well, if they want it, I'll do it. Here's the last time, late March, that Jerry spoke on George Pickens in just complete contract gobbledygook.
Well, I don't and won't get into our planning and structure of our team and our cap, but the franchise tag is an integral part of all teams, but certainly an integral part of our strategy over the next 2 or 3 years as we look at how to keep the best players we can have.
We had to franchise tag George Pickens because franchise tag is important in the NFL and its ecosystem. All right. Thank you, Jerry. Quinnen Williams gets paid. It's the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. A deal for 3 years, $105.9 million. Quinnen Williams got paid by the Dallas Cowboys and will be a Cowboy through 2030. George Pickens, a top 10 wide receiver, the pivotal piece, the Dallas Cowboys offense, who was franchise tagged, 25 years old, sits in the corner and says, but what about me? But what about me? When a guy like Quinnen Williams gets paid, the first question you may ask, wow, how does this benefit the Cowboys? Wow, great team-friendly deal. Wow, good for Quinnen Williams. But you read between the lines. It's another move where these stars of the Dallas Cowboys, a Dak Prescott, who helped CeeDee Lamb get paid. A CeeDee Lamb is trying to get George Pickens paid. George Pickens, who's upset because he's not getting paid. Every time you see the Cowboys ink a new deal for a whole lot of money, just know that on the other side of the football, there are disgruntled Dallas Cowboys that are ready for their boy George Pickens to get that back. You know what? Odell Beckham Jr. needs to retire already. Needs to retire today. Please, put him out of his misery. Here's why. Next. This is the Drake Toll Show.
and a little bit of stick it to them.
I will not hurt myself.
He was a tough cookie.
Here we go again.
Odell Beckham Jr., I'm sure this will come as a devastating take for Cowboys fans. Odell Beckham Jr. should retire. Do you know he's in a battle right now, locked into a wide receiver battle with two guys you may have never heard of?
What?
That Odell Beckham Jr. might not even make a roster spot for the New York Giants. I mean, not only is he past his prime, he should just retire. It's at this point, Braxton Berrios is the guy that he's fighting with right now for a roster spot. Odell Beckham and Dalen Cambry, of course, Dalen Cambry, you know him. Odell Beckham Jr. If you're fighting for a roster spot with the New York Giants between Braxton Berrios and Dalen Cambry, the time to go might be now. It is the Drake Toll Show, 310-840-4910. I've got a lot of thoughts on Odell Beckham Jr. just hanging it up for shame at this point, but let's tie up this whole George Pickens, Quinnen Williams thing with a bow. Your calls, your texts, 310-840-4910, live on the Drake Toll Show, Sirius XM 375, the Drake Toll Show YouTube channel, and the Westwood One Sports app. You can listen all morning long. Let's go to Quaylen in Fort Worth. Quaylen, did the wrong guy get paid for the Dallas Cowboys?
Thanks for taking my call. Absolutely not. Two stud receivers is not the way to win a championship, especially with a quarterback that's good but flawed. You build the team from the inside out. So I'm confused as to why all you fans want him to sign George along with Dak, along with CD.
Yeah. So if up to you, Quaylen, you'd take CeeDee Lamb and then a cast of wide receivers rather than two bang-up all-pro guys.
I don't think I think we've seen Dak with two stud receivers before with Amari and CD. We've seen him with weapons, and I think we've seen his peak with weapons, and he's yet to reach 40 touchdowns with all those great weapons. I just don't think it's the way to win a championship with Dak. I think they need to be a run-first team, and I think if you give him two stud receivers, you're going to entice him to do something that he's not really good at winning at, which is throwing the ball all over the field.
That's a bang-up phone call. I appreciate that, Quaylen. Thanks for listening, too.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, that's quality. That's Quaylen saying what I think a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans. I mean, and if I take it back to, I went to college at Baylor, and the prevalent thought was, why build around the offense if Dak Prescott's your quarterback? Now, I'm willing to push back. I'm not the guy who blames it all on Dak. I don't think anybody blames it all. I don't think Quaylen's blaming it all on Dak, right? In a situation in Dallas where you don't have Lamar Jackson, you don't have Josh Allen, you don't have Patrick Mahomes, you have Dak Prescott. You have a Tier 2 quarterback, a Tier 3 quarterback in the National Football League. The question becomes, what kind of skill pieces do you add around him? I don't think you can lose by giving George Pickens a contract, but in Quaylen's case here, go pay more guys like Quinnen Williams. The Cowboys had the 32nd best defense in the National Football League last year. There are 32 teams in the National Football League, and you're paying guys to play wide receiver when you already have CeeDee Lamb, who is a wide receiver? That doesn't make a ton of sense in Quaylen's mind. And I get that. I understand that. And to even draw that back to Dak Prescott, is Dak good enough to have two wide receivers that you're going to pay? Can Dak get those guys the ball? I mean, I think so. But if you build it around the run game, the offensive line, I think about some of those Romo years, even with DeMarco. I mean, the Cowboys, there were seasons through the 2010s where the Cowboys had the best offensive line in the National Football League and a stout and sturdy run game, whether it was young Zeke or when DeMarco Murray for those couple of years was in his prime. Heck, I'll take you back to some great years for Felix Jones or Darren McFadden. Like the Cowboys have had in the last decade plus, 15 years, good offensive lines, good run games, and those Cowboys teams have been the 12-win regular season squads. And they've just petered out in the postseason, and most of the time they peter out in the postseason, fans say, well, it's because of the quarterback. And maybe it is because of the quarterback at that point. I think about was it 2023? Shoot, man, it would have been January of 24. Packers and Cowboys in Dallas and just this gross slog of a game where Dak Prescott gets eaten alive and the Packers dominate. Mike LaFleur and the Packers dominate the Dallas Cowboys in the postseason. And just like that gross feeling that I have over that game, it permeates through Cowboys fans that believe you shouldn't pay CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens if Dak Prescott is your quarterback. More texts coming in, 310-840-4910. This is from Wills Point, Texas. Travis says there is some character concerns with Pickens. He quit in the game against the Lions as well. Out in Baltimore, we got pay that man. What more do you want from the guy? His numbers speak for itself. I think the only reason you wouldn't pay that guy to this point is because George Pickens has these character issues, these off-field flaws, the idea that George Pickens is a bad guy. That has been a black spot over his career in the National Football League and a black spot going back to his time in college. When he was in college, he was suspended for the SEC championship game because he got into a fight during his final game of the regular season while playing for Georgia against Georgia Tech. And then since then, 2023, $17,000 in fines from one game against the Rams. 2024, outburst, pulling his helmet off, face mask penalties, expletives on his eye black. A post-game brawl with cornerback Greg Newsome of the Browns. George Pickens, character questions, I think have been the reason he hasn't gotten paid. Here is another text. The gambler is holding Pickens to a package and a deal for Crosby. There it is. There it is! We finally did it. We finally said the thing. The gambler is holding Pickens to a package in a deal for Crosby. What if 310-840-4910. What if, man? Maxx Crosby and everything we talked about yesterday, if you listened to yesterday's show about how Maxx Crosby, the edge for the Raiders, is a guy who probably wants out of Las Vegas, and Las Vegas probably wants out of Maxx Crosby right now after Crosby got into a fight hitting their first-string quarterback Kirk Cousins at practice on Friday. What if the Dallas Cowboys, who have been very open, very public that Maxx Crosby is an option for them, and there was an offer possibly on the table when Crosby was on the trade block and was traded to the Baltimore Ravens. That trade fell through because Crosby's knee was all banged up, and the team doctors in Baltimore said, no, we got to avoid this. The Cowboys were on the table then. Jerry was very clear, hey, I'm not taking it off the table. The door is still open for us. What if Pickens and the fact that Cowboys may not need or want a wide receiver too, what if Pickens is the option to trade to Las Vegas to get Maxx Crosby? Mike in Texas says the team is already too top-heavy. Don't pay George Pickens. 310-840-4910. The Dallas Cowboys paid Quinnen Williams, and George Pickens is just still in the corner waving, saying, wait, what about me? Hey, guys, when do I get paid? I'm on a franchise tag, and I had 1,500 receiving yards last year and 9 touchdowns alongside of 92 receptions. When do I get paid? It is the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. That number is still open, 310-840-4910 for your calls and your texts. We got Dale in South Carolina calling in to talk George Pickens. Dale, would you pay the man?
I would, but there's a little caveat to that, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't think Dak Prescott is the guy. And I thought that after his third season. My belief behind that is when they had rookie Dak, rookie Zeke, they handed that ball off to Zeke, and he led the league in rushing. Dak was throwing the ball 20, maybe 25 times a game. And they, 12-4, won the division?
Yeah.
Then Zeke got suspended for those 3 games. And in those 3 games, you saw Dak Prescott put up single-digit points, which right there told me he was not the guy. Then Zeke comes back, 3rd year, leads the league in rushing. Same thing. If Dak is throwing the ball 20 to 25 times a game, the Cowboys usually win because you're taking the ball out of his hands. He's not making bonehead decisions, so on and so forth. Pickens is worth the money. He is. If you can somehow find the quarterback that you're not paying $60 million a year for mediocrity, I mean, that they could be something. But until that happens, until you get rid of, I think, Prescott being the problem, you're going to continue to fizzle out to a 7-seed Green Bay in the playoffs. And I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. It hurts to say that.
I appreciate that phone call, Dale. Appreciate those thoughts. What I love about that take specifically, and again, you can get involved just like Dale and Quaylen have, 310-840-4910. What I like about this is this prevalent thought, this nagging thought of Dak Prescott's not the guy who can get you over the hump of the postseason. When when Patrick Mahomes has been asked to, on 13 seconds, go win a playoff game, Patrick Mahomes has done that. When I think about Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, who have had postseason struggles, and maybe the reason they've had postseason struggles is because they're playing in the same conference as Patrick Mahomes, right? It's just tough to get over that hump. But even those guys, you can tell, have the upside to win you a game you're probably not supposed to win. Dallas Cowboys fans don't feel that way about Dak Prescott. And the numbers are good, right? Come on. 4,500 yards last year, coming off an injury-ridden 2024. The year prior, 4,500 yards. Like Dak Prescott, in the healthy years, every other year is healthy. I mean, think about that. 2019, plays 16 games. 2020, 5. 2021, 16 games. 2022, 12. 2023, 17 games. 2024, 8. 2025, 17 games. We're due for another Dak regression. We're due for another a Dak recession in 2026. That's the guy the Dallas Cowboys decided to pay. They don't want to pay George Pickens. They're not going to pay George Pickens. They wanted to pay Dak Prescott. And now your roster is in the flux of waiting to see, okay, well, can we do we have the cap space to do it? The Cowboys have some cap space to work with. But you're paying Dak Prescott a lot of money. And he's been here since 2016. And what have you gotten out of it? Are the numbers gaudy? Yeah. I mean, 36,000 passing yards in that time. 243 passing touchdowns for Dak since 2016. He was your guy when he was a rookie. He had all the upside as a rookie. But where have we gotten since then? Have you gotten to the point where you want to pay a wide receiver too, where you want to pay George Pickens? Because Dak Prescott's the guy that's got to get the ball to him. George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb can get all the money in the world. It doesn't change the fact that Dak Prescott is the guy getting the ball to them. And if you don't trust Dak Prescott, if Dak Prescott is not the guy to deliver the ball to them, then why pay them? Just keep the ball on the damn ground the whole time. Pay an offensive line. Pay a defense. The Dallas Cowboys paid Quinnen Williams. But what about George Pickens? The guy who's still waiting on his money. Got a text in from New York. People have to remember, his numbers are only like that from last year because CD was hurt all those games. Maybe. And maybe that's why the franchise tag in 2026 is where the Dallas Cowboys wanted to go. Another prove-it year. I mean, you proved it last year. Pickens, 93 receptions, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns. You proved it last year, approaching 1,500 yards in your receiving category. But prove it again this year with a healthy CeeDee Lamb. Prove that we need you. Prove that Dak can get the ball to you. Prove that you're a hot commodity, even with Dak at quarterback, if Dak is the problem truly in Dallas. And if you prove that, you earn a long-term contract with the Dallas Cowboys. How about this? Help me out with this. Try this one on for size, if you will. The Cleveland Browns should delete their franchise. The Cleveland Browns should end their franchise. They shouldn't exist anymore. You will love what happened yesterday at practice because it's just another example of how poverty the Cleveland Browns can get. Next, this is the Drake Toll Show.
Is future Hall of Famer Aaron Donald coming up?
You know, the Cleveland Browns, it wouldn't surprise you, are the biggest dumpster fire in the National Football League, and that dumpster fire is only getting dumpster firer. Ashley Bastock tweets yesterday, end of hashtag Browns practice, 1 minute, end of half situation. All right, give me a look, situational, training camp. Hey, offense, here we go. Line it up, all right, 1 minute on the clock, here we go. We got a score in 1 minute. We have both quarterbacks, have the ones, have the twos go. And it's a 1 minute drill. All right, we got a score to win it. Let's go. Let's pretend a game-like situation. All right, boys, get out there. Let's go. Shedeur Sanders goes up first. The drive ends with 2 false starts on the offensive line. Okay. All right. Hey, we're good, boys. We're good. All right. Hey, Deshaun Watson, get out there. Hey, run it with them. We got a 1 minute drill. Deshaun's gonna run quarterback this time. You guys, here we go. Let's lock in. Focus in. Deshaun Watson, during his 1 minute drill, 2 incompletions, a sack, an illegal formation, and a false start. Ashley Bastock says Todd Monken ended practice and looked like he threw something. Yes! The Browns are just as brown as they've always been. It is the Drake Toll Show, 310-840-4910. Still taking your calls and your texts before we get to our biggest losers of the day. I mean, until he gets paid, George Pickens is a biggest loser of the day. Let's go to Dan in Northern California. Dan in NorCal, George Pickens, should he get a bag from the Dallas Cowboys?
Can I reverse history a little bit here? I think Jerry Jones is the biggest loser. Nice. He screwed this whole thing up by paying Dak $60 million a year. What's Josh Allen make? 54, 56 million? He's like 10 times the quarterback that Dak is. And I like Dak as a person, but I don't think he's worthy of that number 1, top 5 in the NFL quarterback type of thing. So, you're just. There is a salary cap. That's the thing. So you're just going to have to, I don't know. I mean, how long has he got left on his contract? 4 or 5 years, Dak? I mean, you're not going to get rid of him. Nobody wants to pay him that much. You can't trade him. I mean, Jerry Jones just put himself between a rock and a hard place. That's the way I look at it.
Appreciate that phone call, Dan. Appreciate the perspective. We've been talking this morning about Quinnen Williams getting paid by the Dallas Cowboys $105 million. Now, George Pickens hasn't been paid yet, and we've had a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans and those who are just NFL fans say, hey, why would you pay George Pickens if, number 1, you can't pay him because Dak is pulling $60 million away from you, and number 2, Dak Prescott is your quarterback. Now, if you want good news, Dan, the timeline is a bit shorter on Dak Prescott. In fact, good news is you're a Cowboys fan or you're just somebody who wants to see a quarterback change in Dallas. 4-year, $240 million extension was his last time he re-upped with the Cowboys. It's $60 million a year, and that runs him through 2038. So 2026, 2027, 2028. He is locked in for all 3 of those, and I don't think anybody is going to accrue the Dak Prescott contract. There's no one in this world has said, who will the Cowboys put a trade package together for to send Dak somewhere else? Nobody's going to pay a $60 million a year tag for Dak Prescott, the 33-year-old Dak Prescott. Let me give you some perspective here. Dak is the second highest paid quarterback in the National Football League right now. If I asked you, is Dak the second best quarterback in the NFL? You would say no. Patrick Mahomes is 30 years old, the highest paid quarterback, $64 million a year. Dak is 33 years old, second highest paid at $60 million a year. Joe Burrow is making $55 alongside Josh Allen, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, Matt Stafford. All those guys are at $55 million. Dak Prescott is the second highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. Is Dak Prescott better than Patrick Mahomes? No. Is he better than Joe Burrow? No. Is he better than Josh Allen? Not even close. Is he better than Trevor Lawrence? I don't think so. Is he better than Matt Stafford? I'm not willing to go that far. Of course he's not. Matt Stafford just won the MVP. Jordan Love also makes $55 million a year. Is he better than Jordan Love? He wasn't in the postseason in 2023-24. So, I mean, the contract that you gave Dak, Jerry, has handcuffed you to where at this point you can pay Quinnen Williams. You can give him an extension where that money will come into play in 2028. But if you look at the one guy that everybody on the roster is begging you to pay, George Pickens, the guy who caught for almost 1,500 yards last year, 9 touchdowns, 93 receptions. When that guy wants a bag, when he wants his, you're stuck. Saying to the media, well, we feel like the franchise tag was something we could use right there, and so we put it on George, and we're rooting for him, and we certainly hope that he has a good 2026 and proves us right. I don't know how long that vernacular works with the real human beings. George Pickens is a real human being. Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams have worked out fine for the Rams. If you want to talk about guys that you're like, oh, man, Jerry, does he want to pay 2 wide receivers? Hey, look, Jackson Smith and Jigba couldn't do what he did last year with the Seahawks if not for Cooper Kupp right there. Old man Cooper Kupp coming in there, wide receiver too. Come on now. Talk to him. I think you got Cincinnati where you got 2 bang-up receivers out there. There are franchises willing to pay 2 receivers. The Dallas Cowboys, well, due to some character issues, may never do it. And George Pickens could be on the cutting room floor in free agency at the end of the year because everybody's so bought into Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboy. It is the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. 310-840-4910. We are still taking your phone calls, your texts. Let's go to Myron in Dallas. Myron, good morning. You're on the Drake Toll Show.
Good morning, Drake. How you doing? Let me first say I do love your show, but I'm going to have to push back on you on both my Cowboys.
Come on. Let's do it, Myron. Let's go.
Okay. Well, I want to backtrack for a minute and go back to the Cleveland Browns.
Let's do it.
I think you're underestimating them. Once they figure out that quarterback situation, I think the defense has actually improved on what they brought in. One of the things I can see is the leadership that's going to change there. So I won't be surprised at all, and I'm going to put it on the record now that the Browns may make the playoffs. They're going to surprise a lot of teams. Now, as far as my Cowboys, now everyone knows it's been Jerry, right, and his ego. Well, guess what? His ego has went in the opposite direction. He knows that he has to win a Super Bowl before his life ends, and he's willing, if you've been listening to him, to do whatever it takes, future draft picks, push money down the road to win a championship. Yeah. And I think you're going to see the beginning of it this year if we don't make it to the NFC Championship, because, again, I understand football. You got those Rams over there, right? But I do think in the next 2 to 3 years we will win a Super Bowl. And I'm going to sit back and listen to your response.
I like that. I appreciate the phone call, Myron. I think for me as somebody who is, again, I'm not going to force my fandom down the throats of America here. I'm not going to force anything down the throats of America here. But I, as somebody who has a rooting interest for the Dallas Cowboys somewhere buried down, I call myself the world's most reluctant Cowboys fan because it's been so. I grew up around this loud cohort sitting in the middle of Arkansas, people who they're married to the Dallas Cowboys, and it became so in your face. Look, I'm not going to lie to you and say the Cowboys are the best team in the National Football League this year, but building the imprint for a Super Bowl in 2 or 3 years is the goal. Yeah, that's been. It's almost funny to me how dark it is. Of like Jerry's going to die soon. Like everybody around the Cowboys has this air of Jerry's going to die at some point, and when Jerry is dead, the Cowboys need to win the Super Bowl. Between now and Jerry's death, they've got to win. And it's like the timeline has suddenly become the death of a human being. We need to do this thing before that guy dies. And that's why there's I guess you'll take sense of urgency in any way you can get it if you're a Cowboys fan. But as somebody who's watched the hope, every August 11th, the hope creep into the psyche of Dallas Cowboys supporters, it becomes tougher and tougher to buy into that. And Myron, you've reset my clock a bit. If I could expect the Cowboys to compete for a Super Bowl in 2 or 3 years, that gives me a better timeline than saying they'll do it this year. That the boys are back right now. And with that, I wonder if Dak's the guy, right? And I wonder if we got those phone calls of, hey, the Cowboys could win, but Dak Prescott's the quarterback. So, Myron, if you're saying that, man, the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl in 2 years, does that mean that Dak Prescott's still the quarterback for the Cowboys? 310-840-4910. And the Browns, huh? Yeah. This guy's got the Browns going to the playoffs in 2026 under Todd Monken. They've struggled at training camp. They do need, and you put the big if in there, Myron, if they figure out the quarterback situation. That's a pretty big if. We'll test it out in Cleveland. Is Dak the answer? Let's just go there. Let's throw away the script for the show right now and keep it with the Dallas Cowboys. Your calls are still rolling in. 310-840-4910. Shoot, man, we'll turn this into a Dak conversation. Is Dak the answer in Dallas? It is Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Addie Bates produces. Laura Jimenez runs the board. Drake Toll with you. 310-840-4910. Is Dak the answer on the Drake Toll Show?
Hey lady, you got the love I need. Baby, more than enough. Oh, darling, 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 walk a while with me. Oh, you got so much, so much, so much.
me take you on an adventure, on a ride here. We opened the show with Quinnen Williams signing a 3-year, $105 million extension that kicks in 2028. And I would make the case that's team-friendly. I mean, the Cowboys won't take a cap hit on this until 2028. But when I see something like this, your first thought is, well, okay, if they can pay Quinnen Williams, who was already locked in through 2028, and now you have added 3 more years to his deal. Now you have him until 2030. Why didn't you pay George Pickens? Like, I'm looking over here in the corner at this guy who had almost 1,500 receiving yards last year, 93 catches, 9 touchdowns. You won't pay him. CeeDee Lamb is begging you to pay him. Dak Prescott's begging you to pay CeeDee Lamb. All these, it's like the two cohorts, the offensive faction, the defensive faction, the Dallas Cowboys, and Jerry Jones just puppet mastering in the middle of, I want to pay you and not you. I'll pay you a little bit too much and you not enough. And somehow we opened that conversation about Quinnen Williams getting paid and George Pickens not, and it all pointed back to why pay George Pickens if your quarterback's Dak Prescott? Why pay a receiver if your quarterback is Dak Prescott? Let's take you out to Dallas. 310-840-4910. Let's take you to Lone Star State. Josh in Texas, you're on the Drake Toll Show.
Hey, Drake, good morning. Love the show. Quick question. Hypothetically speaking, the Cowboys could get rid of Dak Prescott. Nobody ever asked the question, who should the Cowboys go after? Who would they get to replace Dak Prescott?
Yeah, Jaden Maiava. I mean, name a sophomore playing college football. It's not. I don't think, and this is me agreeing with you here, I don't think, Josh, and push back if you think I'm wrong, that there is another quarterback in the National Football League the Dallas Cowboys would be in the trade market for, the free agency market for, who is a franchise guy. Would you take like a Baker Mayfield over Dak Prescott?
Absolutely not. Maybe Archie Manning?
Maybe the old Texas kid. Josh, I appreciate the phone call. Appreciate you listening. If not Dak, then who? We got a text that backs it up. It says it's the exact same thing. A text out of Dallas says, you're crazy as hell. Dak has been a top 3 quarterback every year he's played. 310-840-4910. Again, Josh, appreciate that phone call. Dak Prescott, if not him, then who? I'm looking at the numbers right now. And damn, man, I mean, again, 36,000 yards that he's put up since 2016. He's played 139 games in that span and 243 touchdowns. The dude is slinging the ball. And he had yet another career season last year at 4,500 yards. His second most passing yards in his NFL career came in 2025. He is, in his healthy seasons, he's a guaranteed 4,500-yard passer, 30-touchdown guy. Well, what do you mean? What? Excuse me, put it in reverse, Terry. What do you mean in his healthy seasons? Well, that's the thing. 2019, he played 16 games. 2020, 5 games. 2021, 16 games. 2022, 12. 2023, full 17-game slate, started all 17. In 2024, he played 8. Last year he played 17. Every other year is like a Dak recession hurt year. You're paying $60 million a season for that guy. And the question that Josh poses is, okay, fine. If you don't want Dak Prescott, who is it? Are you tanking for Arch Manning? Do you go get a Jaden Maiava, the USC quarterback? Do you get a Dante Moore, the Oregon quarterback? Do you shell out for a QB? Hell, somehow the team that I think everybody in the NFL envies right now, the franchise I think everybody envies, the LA Rams, they did that. They went and got a quarterback out of Alabama with a 13th overall pick in the draft this year where they still have Matthew Stafford. Will the Cowboys look at an option, at a win-now future, hey, we think Dak's hit his ceiling. He's not a Super Bowl contending, Super Bowl winning quarterback, so let's make this a little bit different. Shake the whole thing up. Shovel off Dak and bring in a young kid. Well, problem with that, how are you going to shovel off $60 million a year? Who's going to accrue that contract in a trade for Dak Prescott? And he's on the hook through 2028. I think Dak Prescott is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys through 2028. And there's not really any getting around it. No one's going to pick up that contract. No one's going to pick up that deal. And I think that Dak, though his output and production has been there, Cowboys fans are going to continue to be frustrated because the numbers are there. But the wins, the postseason wins, are not. It's the Drake Toll Show. 310-840-4910. And maybe in a world where the Dallas Cowboys agree to pay Quinnen Williams but do not pay George Pickens, they are part of our obituaries. Dead today, the theory that George Pickens is a bad guy. Pickens joined one of our affiliates at Westwood One Sports in the Westwood One Sports app, 105.3 The Fan, and he was actually asked not about his own contract at first, but instead about guys like Zay Flowers with the Ravens or Drake London with the Atlanta Falcons. Those guys getting paid massive contracts. They're paid higher than CeeDee Lamb at this point. And George Pickens, who everybody's told me has this long history of baggage, kind of career bad guy dating back to his college years at Georgia. Here's what George Pickens told our affiliate about Zay Flowers signing a big deal.
I feel like that's nice. I honestly feel like that's nice. Me personally, I think I kind of let the world speak for me, but me personally, I think I'm definitely in that range or above.
Okay.
But definitely for him and Lamar, and they lost Likely and how their whole deal is going, I feel like that's good for him.
We were worried about maybe not getting to see out here. Like, was there any serious talk about like a hold-in situation?
No, not really. Just more of because I was just focused on coming with the guys.
Yeah.
I kind of let my agent kind of do all of that. Sure. I was kind of really locked in on the guys because I don't want to be focused on that. Then they're focused on that because some of them still are. Yeah. And then no one's focused.
I mean, you're telling me that's a bad guy? You're going to tell me that dude who's excited for Zay Flowers, who's like, man, I'm focused on football. Let my agent figure out the money. I'm focused on playing football. 25-year-old George Pickens sounds pretty stand-up. Sounds like he might secretly be a character guy. You know who else wants to go to bat for him? His teammate CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb said, hey, if you think the issue here is George Pickens being a locker room cancer, you're wrong. He's a culture fit for the Dallas Cowboys who's got passion, grit, heart, energy, all the football buzzwords. Here's CeeDee Lamb saying, hey, wait a second, this guy's reputation is good.
Bro, he's not a crash until he has a reason. I swear. He's a good dude. He's literally funny all the time, bro. He's funny all the time. Until he feels like, all right, somebody's trying to play with me. And then that's when you get the NFL young boy.
Yeah. He's a good guy. Come on, everybody. Rally around it. George Pickens should have gotten paid by the Dallas Cowboys and should still get paid by the Dallas Cowboys. Dead today. Me being the smartest person in the room. Yep. Micah Parsons just walked in. Get ready to learn IQ, buddy. How about flubbing your very own sentence about how smart you are? The former Dallas Cowboy turned Green Bay Packer, Micah Parsons, had this to say about how he is the smartest person in the room now, boys.
Yeah, and I don't even think it's just about pass rush. I'm thinking about is commanding the defensive front. Like the way I set it up, I can dictate the slides, know where the slide's going, understand protections. I think I'm above IQ than every rusher in the league.
I think I'm above IQ than every rusher in the league. Addie Bates, producer of the Drake Toll Show. If we could just cut that graphic, we could just build the graphic. I think I'm above IQ than any pass rusher in the league.
You made that up. He's
Micah
so
Parsons.
smart. Yeah, he's so smart. He's above IQ than anybody.
Right. It's a sentence only he can understand.
You just have to be so IQ to understand it.
If not problem, why can't good be? What was the?
Nothing bad can happen. Only
it can only good happen. Oh, nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. That's direct quote, President of the United States. John Machota added this from the EVP, Stephen Jones. Get this, son of Jerry Jones. I know, Stephen Jones of the Dallas Cowboys said this of the Quinnen Williams new deal. This is about Parsons. He says this about Quinnen Williams. Just read between the lines here. Steven says, he's a great player, one of the hardest practicing guys. Every time he lines up, you feel him. Doesn't take anything for granted. Doesn't say, hey, I got this. I'll let my play do the talking. You just see it. That's everybody in the Cowboys organization is trying to throw subtle shade at Micah Parsons as they've moved on to Quinnen Williams being the defensive star in the Big D. Those are today's obituaries. That is who is dead today. 310-840-4910. Phone line still open. Text line still open on the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. You can be heard live if you call in, or your own name and where you're from can be read live on Sirius XM 375, the Drake Toll Show YouTube channel, or the Westwood One Sports app, as it's time for the Quickie. Top 5 headlines in all of sports. Addy Bates reads them. Drake Toll has a minute to respond to each.
Drake Toll, let's go to MLB for a second. There was a 16-minute delay.
Let's go to MLB.
Yeah, it's not the MLB.
I am IQ of the room than any of the defenders.
That is me being nice every time you say the MLB. I don't.
I am always going to be a the MLB guy.
Yeah, the Major League Baseball.
Correct. NFL football.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think we're on the same page now. So, 16-minute delay in Red Sox Blue Jays game leads to a belated run.
Yeah. 2-1 win for the Blue Jays in this one. I woke up to this news because I, a normal person who is up at 5 o'clock every morning or earlier, could not stay up to see the end of the Blue Jays-Red Sox game, though I would have loved to. Anthony Siegler scored from third base on a sac fly, but never tagged up. So we were confused up in Canada. It was Boston's only run in that 2-1 loss. That 16-minute delay was with no outs, runners at first and second, 7th inning, hard grounder to Vlad Guerrero Jr. Toronto first baseman fields it, throws to the shortstop, Andres Jimenez. Second, force out. Siegler moves to third. Next, fly ball, center field. Scoreboard showed 2 outs. The ball's still in the air, headed toward the plate when Siegler took off. And so it just became complete and utter chaos. Blue Jays caught the ball, tossed it to first to double up Sogard. That was the third out. Everybody thought Toronto was up 2-0. It's this mental math puzzle. I'm trying to make sense of it myself still. I can't. Is there an easy way to explain what happened? Because I keep trying.
So the scoreboard error, but showed that there were 2 outs, and as he already hit the ball, so they're all running. It went back to 1. But the problem is everybody on the field thought there were 2 outs. You want to know how you solve this? Talk to your coaches. Keep track of your outs, guys. It's 1, 2, and 3. This isn't like you're trying to keep track of the count, which you should also be doing that. This is why we need someone in the dugout with the old-fashioned, scorekeeper. We need more of that, I think.
Hey, guys, one down here, guys. Come on, roll 2.
Hey, the Jiggles would never do that. My softball team would never do that.
1 out, man on third. Guy catches fly ball. What was the confusion?
But they thought it was 2 outs. So you're just running on contact when it's 2 outs.
Oh, no. So why'd they award him the run?
It's like this hidden rule in baseball. This is why it took 16 minutes to deliberate.
If scoreboard wrong, runners can do whatever want. Please,
nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
Please, literally any other headline. That's 4 minutes.
All right, let's go to the NBA. Greek team pursuing Jokic made a serious offer for him.
All right, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
It took me 12 minutes this morning to try to get through this storyline.
I know that I edited your sports minutes.
As I was recording my sports minutes. Dimitrios Yiannakopoulos, the Greek businessman who owns Panathinaikos basketball club in Athens, made a proposal to the Denver Nuggets to buy Nikola Jokic out of his final season of his NBA contract with the Nuggets. This is per ESPN. People are going to say he's joking, says Yiannakopoulos. But no, he made a very serious proposal and put it on the table. So, it's pretty cool that Greece is over here offering massive money for our NBA players. Surely, if they offered him more money, Jokic would take it. He doesn't seem to care that much about being in the NBA. He likes money and horses. Did you see his pony won like a week ago? His horse won a race. It's pretty awesome. I think we're safe for now, Jokic staying in the U.S., but if anybody offers him more money, that guy's probably just gone.
Here's your next headline. McDonald confirms Seattle's interest in Terrion Arnold.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Right, Terrion Arnold is currently serving. I mean, he's been indicted. He's mocking. Terrion Arnold is currently in the Tampa area, going to have to go to trial, very likely, for allegedly kidnapping and robbing people. I asked our bosses at Westwood One Sports if I could kidnap and rob people. They said no, that I would be fired. However, in the case of Terrion Arnold, if he allegedly kidnaps and robs people, but is also a first-round draft pick out of Alabama, he gets to do it. Rules for thee, but not for me. So,
interesting per se.
Next time you want to kidnap and rob people, just be really good at football. That's a minute.
Writing that down. Here's your final headline. Actually,
what?
No,
the
this
final
is your fourth headline.
I know, yeah. I'll get the outs. My scoreboard's right. My video board's correct. No sack.
But I'm still going to score a run, so
no
take
sack.
that. Number 4, Tarek Skubal and the Dodgers are beatable, and the rest of baseball shouldn't despair.
Yeah. I mean, what stinks about this for the owners want the Dodgers to win. The better the Dodgers are, the better the Dodgers are, the closer we get to a salary cap, because the players are like, no, they're so good, they're unstoppable. The Dodgers aren't really unstoppable. I know they won yesterday, but they're still 2-8 in their last 10, and 7.5 games above the Diamondbacks, who are still in the race. The Padres are still in the race in the NL West. The problem with baseball is the parity is too crazy. The Marlins, who pay $50 just flat, just $50 for their roster, and the Dodgers, who pay $450 million. At any given time, the Marlins can beat the Dodgers in a series. That's just what baseball is. And it's a shame, but that's what's going to keep us from a salary cap, is the players saying, hey, there's so much parity. We don't care if the Dodgers are a super team. Any given night in this sport, the worst of two teams can win, a la the Texas Rangers winning the 2023 World Series.
Here's your final headline. Bridgewater on retirement. He says this time it's official.
Thank you, Teddy. I can only handle so many Teddy Bridgewater retirements. I also think Teddy Bridgewater in a coaching role, which he's already tried for, in a TV role, Teddy Bridgewater, former Louisville quarterback, NFL journeyman, is going to be great in retirement. He's going to be around the game and still pretty public with the game. And Dan Campbell has referenced, as it pertains to the Detroit Lions, how he's kind of an extension of the coaching staff. 33 years old, still pretty young, too. I hope that we're good. We're good, Teddy. It's all right. It's okay. You can retire for good this time. We'll see you in Valhalla. Rest now, brother. We have the watch.
Those are your headlines for the day.
Those are the headlines. That's the Quickie. Top 5 headlines in all of sports. When we come back, we are sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. Maxx Crosby is about to be a Dallas Cowboy. Humor me. Let me build the trade. Next. This is the Drake Toll Show.
She thinks she missed the train to Mars. She's out back counting stars. She thinks she missed the train to Mars. She's out back counting stars.
Maxx Crosby. Get ready to learn Dallas Cowboys, buddy. It's the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. Crosby, a Dallas Cowboy. I see it. You picture it? Can you see it with me? Jerry Jones is going to die. That is the whole first hour of this show went from Quinnen Williams signs 3-year, $105 million extension with the Cowboys to somewhere over here where, okay, paying Quinnen Williams means that you didn't pay George Pickens, which is just going to make CeeDee Lamb more upset and Dak Prescott more upset and George Pickens more upset. And so then on the other corner, it's like, okay, but why would you pay George Pickens if Dak Prescott's your quarterback and Dak Prescott might be a liability in the playoffs and he might not be a Super Bowl contending quarterback? But then on the other side, it's like, okay, well, if you need to start considering what the Dallas Cowboys can do with Dak, Quinnen Williams, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, etc., before Jerry Jones dies. We somehow spun a web. I'm building it right now in front of me on my board. I'm building it in front of me. We've spun a web of Jerry Jones is going to die, and that backtracks all of its way to Quinnen Williams' 3-year, $105 million extension. By the way, Quinnen Williams was in Dallas until 2028. Like, they had him locked in this year. They had him locked in next year. And all of a sudden, like, okay, in a world where we can't pay George Pickens right now, we can pay Quinnen Williams later, so let's do this deal. And because, which it's weird, but we've had guests on this show who are like, well, you know, it really is a conversation of mortality. Like, what? Well, yes, Jerry will die. I don't know if there's another team, another league. I can't think of an example right now off the top of my head of another owner where the world is. There are ownership groups and owners where fans are like, yeah, but he's going to die soon. And it's good news for the fan base. So like, yeah, we're just waiting on him to die, and then, you know, we can be good again. But the Cowboys, it's less of they're waiting on Jerry to die and more of Jerry Jones is going to die. We have to win before he dies. Jerry has to win before he dies. And this mortality conversation has turned into a conversation of Dallas Cowboys fans spinning Jerry Jones' eternity into why the Dallas Cowboys want to win now. So where the hell does Maxx Crosby come into all that, into this web that we've spun over the course of the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, and the Westwood One Sports app this morning? Well, where Maxx Crosby comes into that is that Jerry Jones needs to win. And if Jerry Jones' clock is ticking, if he doesn't have a good 15 years left on the earth, then he knows that winning now will cost something. And that will cost bringing in stars like Maxx Crosby to bolster a defense that absolutely sucked. Wet, hot, gross ass last year, the Dallas Cowboys defense. It is Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app, 310-840-4910. Will Maxx Crosby be traded? And will he be traded to the Dallas Cowboys? 310-840-4910. This is an addendum on yesterday's conversation. I wanted to add to yesterday. You and I talked about Maxx Crosby around this same time and how the Las Vegas Raiders have come to a head. They don't want Maxx Crosby anymore, and Maxx Crosby doesn't want them. I'm reading that between the lines because what I saw on Friday is Crosby tackles Kirk Cousins twice. He tackles the starting quarterback. A defensive player hit the starting quarterback twice in spring training. You can't do that, obviously. So, all right, great. Maxx Crosby he hits the quarterback twice. He gets Kirk Cousins suspended for Saturday's practice. Kirk Cousins, notable good guy, saint, nun. He's like the nun of the. No one's ever not liked Kirk Cousins. Hey guys, it's me, Kirk Cousins. Good to see you guys. Hey, hope everybody has a good day. And he walks out of the room like, damn, that guy's nice. Somehow Maxx Crosby got that dude suspended on Saturday. Crosby was suspended himself for the altercation that occurred between the two during Friday's practice. It's clear. Crosby is tired of the Las Vegas Raiders. He knows they can't compete. He knows they don't want to win. They have Kirk Cousins as their starting quarterback instead of the Heisman Trophy winner who they drafted first overall. Nope, we don't want to use that guy yet. We don't want to burn him yet. We want to use Kirk Cousins. Crosby is tired of losing. Him wanting out makes a ton of sense. So there's the baseline. There's the foundation. On one side, here is Maxx Crosby saying, I'm pretty fed up with the Las Vegas Raiders and their lack of want to win. On the other side is Jerry Jones's aging body. Those two things somehow work together to the culmination, the confluence. Where those two things meet is the confluence where Maxx Crosby is traded to the Dallas Cowboys. 310-840-4910. Shannon from Alabama texts and says, this isn't the same Jerry Jones. Because the old Jerry Jones wouldn't pay Micah Parsons. Shipped him to Green Bay. But he is paying Quinnen Williams. Which could even beg the question, would you rather have Micah Parsons or Quinnen Williams? The Dallas Cowboys, in this case, would rather have Quinnen Williams, obviously. And there have been cryptic messages from Stephen Jones, son of Jerry, about how, wow, Quinnen's just such a stand-up guy, such a character player, doesn't tell you how good his game is, lets his game talk. I'm gonna go rogue here for a second. I'm gonna go rogue for a second. I know I'm doing it. We have audio from Micah Parsons earlier this week. Just to Shannon from Alabama says, hey, this is Parsons and Williams. The Dallas Cowboys wouldn't pay for Parsons. They will pay for Williams. It shows that Jerry's in a new era, that Jerry wants to win now. Another reason I think they wouldn't pay Micah Parsons is because he'd be saying things sometimes. Here's the most recent quote from the Packers star Micah Parsons at training camp. His IQ, he's not an IQ guy. And that shines through again for Micah. So if the Cowboys want to win now, and it's because Jerry Jones may die, and Quinnen Williams is the guy who's going to help them win now, Maxx Crosby's the perfect fit. I mean, he would take a defense. I just told you that a defense that sucked last year. They were ranked 30th, the Cowboys, in the league in total defense, allowing 377 yards per game. A league-high 60 touchdowns the Cowboys allowed. Dead last in the NFL in passing defense, number 32 in the National Football League. Well, Trevon Diggs. No. Trevon Diggs didn't work out. He was aging and becoming even more of a cancer, of a problem. And that's how the Cowboys would like you to feel about Micah Parsons, that he was becoming a problem. They were dead last in passing defense, allowing 252 yards per game, 35 passing touchdowns. Those 35 passing touchdowns were the second most, only behind the New York Jets. You're in the same conversation. The Dallas Cowboys are in the same defensive conversation as the New York Jets. And your run defense wasn't much better. 23rd in the league, allowing 126 yards per game and a league-high 24 rushing touchdowns. Yes, that's even worse than the Jets. Well, at least special teams only allowed one TD last year. Yep, you're right. There is a world where the Dallas Cowboys, who need defense, put together a trade package to ensure that a guy like Maxx Crosby is there to bolster their defense. I think we have the audio now. Let's take you back. This is why Jerry wanted to move on. If Jerry's going to win a Super Bowl before he dies, Micah Parsons on his own IQ, Micah would tell you he's the smartest player in the league. Here's why I think Micah Parsons did not get paid by the Dallas Cowboys. Micah?
Yeah, and I don't even think it's just about pass rush. I think about is commanding the defensive front. Like the way I set it up, I can dictate the slides, know where the slide's going, understand protections. I think I'm above IQ than every rusher in the league.
I think I'm above IQ than every rusher in the league. Now, maybe that's why Quinnen Williams is the one who got paid, not Micah Parsons. Humility. But the Cowboys have made it clear with Quinnen Williams. We want to win. We want to win in the next 5 years. We want Quinnen Williams here through 2030 to help us do that. But it is still Jerry Jones. I mean, mortality be damned. It is still Jerry Jones. Let's go to Maurice in Oakland. Am I giving Jerry Jones too much credit? Maurice, welcome back. You're on the Drake Toll Show.
I see you, sir. And yes, you are giving Mr. Jerry Jones 10 times too much credit. I think he wants to get Maxx Crosby, but what would be required, he's not going to do. And if you look at the other teams in that division, I could see him going more so to either a Giants team that's on an upsurge, the Philadelphia Eagles, who would love to be able to win this year without A.J. Brown and kill some of that talk that's going on about their quarterback and everything else, or even the Redskins. Or I don't think they're called the Redskins anymore, Commanders.
That's a good point, yeah.
And if not them, I mean, we have a very vivid history of doing trades with two teams, and these are the teams that I think are at the top of the list if we trade him. Remember, we did a very decent deal. We just couldn't draft when we traded Khalil Mack when he was like Maxx Crosby before Maxx Crosby. And then we always have some sort of deal with the Patriots where we've given them Randy Moss for like a 4th-round draft pick or something. Yeah. Those are the teams we like to help, not the Cowboys. The Cowboys essentially are the Raiders of the NFC.
Good take, Maurice. Thanks for the phone call out of Oakland. That is another, I guess, layer of the onion you unpeel here. 310-840-4910. Appreciate that perspective because the Raiders trading with the Dallas Cowboys, that doesn't oil and water. Those two things don't mix. Whereas if the Raiders, as Maurice has mentioned, wanted to go to Philly, if Philadelphia calls and says, hey, we'll give you a 2027 first-rounder, a 2027 third-rounder, and a 2028 second-round pick for Maxx Crosby, I bet the Raiders, I bet Las Vegas picks up the phone and says, you know what? Yeah, sure. Or they say, hey, what about, I don't know, 2027 first-round pick, 2027 second-round pick, 2028 third-round pick. Like you can go and piece together any sort of draft capital and pitch it out to the Raiders, who still seem like they're a year or two away from competing. They're not starting their young quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. They don't seem to want to compete this year. They're going to give it a breath. They're going to give it a season with Kirk Cousins running the show at quarterback and then try to win in 2027 or 2028. If that's the case, the Eagles, the Giants, can shovel off draft picks and get Maxx Crosby to win now because the Eagles are still in win now mode. The Giants want to ascend to win now with John Harbaugh as their head coach. And the Cowboys, with Jerry Jones, aren't a team, to Maurice's point, that a whole lot of other franchises want to help out in the National Football League. 310-840-4910. Am I off base with Maxx Crosby being traded to the Dallas Cowboys? That's my question. 310-840-4910. We're sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union, proudly serving all branches of the armed services, veterans, and their families. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Our members are the mission. It is another domino to the feather in the hat of a stupid, silly, gross saga. One of America's prominent sports leagues is about to face its toughest battle yet and may fold under the pressure. This is the Drake Toll Show. The WNBA has an NBA problem. Is it as stupid to you as it is to me? You know, like so from my perspective, and this isn't one of those. Oh well, I'm friends with that person, or I'm friends with the person from that community, so I know exactly what I'm talking. I know what I'm talking about. I'm qualified to talk about it. I'm friends with them. I know them. So like I have, one of my friends is that. Don't let me fall into that category here. But as somebody who has a sister who plays college softball at Baylor, I get a pretty good inside perspective on things like this more often than not. Of like, hey, I can call my sister up and be like, what do you think about this whole WNBA fallout and Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham? And it has been all over my Twitter feed in the last month and a half about how the WNBA, who could have had its moment, who could have had a run in the last month of success, of being the sport that was on. Like the World Cup's over. What do we watch when I get older? The World Cup's over. What do we watch until the NFL season sparks up, until college football is back? The WNBA had every right to be that. Go watch Caitlin Clark dominate. And then instead it just fizzled into chaotic nothingness. Because instead of the basketball part, instead of focusing on the court itself, we have to have all these random storylines from across the league where it's controversy after controversy and social justice issue after social justice issue. And I think at some point what you're going to do to sports fans is fatigue them. When coaches are going to the podium post-game and instead of saying, we don't have, and we did for a period of time in the NBA or the NFL, or, I'm thinking about the major national leagues. There was a time where it felt like every post-game press conference, the coach would get to the podium and say, I hate that politician. I don't like that guy. I don't like this guy. I don't like this take. I don't like that take. And it hurt the NBA because people could not get around. This is around COVID and post-COVID. It hurt the NBA because sports fans couldn't get around the fact that we just weren't talking about sports. No, I want to know how the pick and roll was so effective tonight against the Utah Jazz that you were able to put up 92 points in the paint. But that's not the conversation. Nope. Instead it was sit down and be like, hey, we need to talk about this issue. I don't think you should vote for that governor. I think you should vote for my favorite governor. And we've gotten away from that in most of these leagues. But the WNBA, and you could argue the WNBA has been forced into it, but their leadership has just, one after another, move after move, it seems like a lack of fortitude, a lack of backbone has gotten the WNBA into this point of purgatory, where they are stuck in sports hell, where instead of sports, where it's just the only thing that's popping up on feeds across the world is controversy. And the latest is Enes Kanter, the former Oklahoma City Thunder player, NBA player, who wants to declare for the WNBA draft in 2027. This is stupid. But here it is, the audio of Enes Kanter announcing he'll be declaring for the WNBA draft.
After careful consideration and reviewing the current eligibility guidelines, I am officially declaring myself a WNBA prospect. If simply declaring who you are is all that's required, then I meet every single requirement necessary to compete in the WNBA. My team and I have carefully examined the WNBA's eligibility criteria and governing framework surrounding self-identification and inclusion. Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices. I am simply asking that the current rules be applied equally to everyone. The rules that represent the very values many WNBA players and coaches have publicly advocated for. My team and I are prepared to ensure these guidelines are applied equally, consistently, and without exception. And I look forward to the WNBA honoring its stated principles. See you at training camp.
Okay, so wait a second. I'm reading the WNBA rules right here because that's Enes Kanter, who is like very publicly is like, hey, I'm Enes Kanter, the man. Article 8, Section 1A of the WNBA Collective Bargaining Agreement explicitly states that, quote, only players who are women are eligible to play in the WNBA. It's time for our Idiots of the Day.
Idiot of the Day.
It's the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Drake Toll with you from the Savannah Bananas organization, locked on Big 12 and right here on Westwood One Sports. Hey, you know what? Here's what I saw a lot of banter about this, a lot of talk about this on national networks. There are some networks that are going to stay away from it entirely. I'm more than happy to give you this WNBA stuff where now former NBA players like Enes Kanter are declaring for the WNBA. I'm reading it from the rule book. Only players who are women are eligible to play the WNBA. As a biological male who spent 11 seasons playing in the NBA, Enes Kanter fails the baseline legal and operational requirements of the league to play in the WNBA. Is that it? Is that what you wanted? Is that what you? That's all. And his whole I don't want to mock anybody. I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm reading it right here. It just says pretty plainly, as a biological male who spent 11 seasons in the NBA, you fundamentally fail the baseline legal and operational requirements of the league. That's it. It's over. No Enes Kanter in the WNBA. Also, is there a problem I'm missing? Are there men who are playing in the WNBA? No. Are there men trying to play in the WNBA? Not until Enes Kanter. Is there a problem? Is there something I'm missing? Was there an issue here, where this was a prevalent thing? That's it's just so. Why? Can I ask that question? Is that a fair question? Why is any of this happening? Enes Kanter, idiot of the day. In the WNBA, maybe they've asked for portions of this. I don't think they asked for Enes Kanter to declare for the WNBA draft, where it clearly states in the rules that he can't do that. But I do think the WNBA, as they have neglected stars like Caitlin Clark, as they have neglected building around stars like Caitlin Clark. Oh, sorry, I said the name Caitlin Clark. Oh, I said the C word, Caitlin Clark. Oh. As they've neglected to do that, they've only hurt themselves. It's Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Let's keep it with our idiots of the day. This idiot of the day goes to Jimmy Rogers, the new head coach of the Iowa State football team. Took over from Matt Campbell, who's now at Penn State. And Jimmy was asked about the On3 poll. On3 did an anonymous coaches poll where Big 12 coaches voted on where they thought each of the teams in the league would finish in 2026. Somehow, Iowa State, who is replacing 60 players, who is replacing 21 starters, who lost most of its good players to Penn State when Matt Campbell left, somehow Iowa State got a first-place vote in the anonymous Big 12 coaches poll that On3 ran. Now, this caused some sting. People wondering, man, which of these coaches really believes in Iowa State? Well, it turns out Iowa State's coach, Jimmy Rogers, was the one who voted for Iowa State at number one. Here's what he had to say at the podium this week when pressed on what could have just been anonymous, but he admitted this.
I'll ask you the question. What would you think if I didn't vote on this? You'd wonder why I'm the head coach at Iowa State. I was brought in to win, very self-aware. They didn't hire me to come here and not be competitive. I wasn't hired for my disposition. I was hired to create a program that competes and wins, and that's the goal. We're not signing up for second place. So I know that's a bold statement, and it'll be printed everywhere, but the reality is this. The players have to believe in what you say, and you have to act on how you believe.
I was brought in to win, and then he goes on to say, I'm very self-aware. This is like the coach. This is the Iowa State Cyclones will be the equivalent of college football's New York Jets this year. This is the coach of the New York Jets saying, I've got good feel. I know what I'm talking about. Hey, I know what I'm signing up for. Come on. I'm very self-aware. I don't know if self-aware is putting the Iowa State Cyclones at number one in the Big 12. And by the way, you don't have to tell the world that in the anonymous coaches poll that you took, that you put your own team number one when you're projected by most outlets 15th or 16th in a 16-team league. Let's keep it going. Our idiots of the day on the Drake Toll Show. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Dave Roberts, idiot of the day. The skipper of the Dodgers saying, quote, we're a wild card team right now. We got to get going and play with urgency. We're going to be okay and we're good. That's not good enough. Clearly it's not, given how we played over the last month. Addy, the Dodgers keep losing. They won yesterday, but they keep losing.
These underdogs, the underdog Dodgers, okay? Look out, guys. They're on the up and up. There's a sneaky dark horse team right now. Yeah, obviously you have to win. Yes, you're a wild card team right now, but you got about a month and a half. Come on. Just get with it. You have star power. This roster is amazing. The fact that you're losing, you got to have the huddle. We got to bring back that old Little League huddle after a game when you lose. Circle up, everybody. Come on.
My dad was my little league coach, so we would circle up. I never really got complimented. My mom would get mad in the car. They wouldn't talk in the car. Sometimes I also wasn't allowed to talk in the car. I should unpack that someday on the Drake Toll
Drake
show.
gets shelled in the first inning.
I will not hurt myself.
It was pitching machine, all right? I was the pitcher. What use is there for a pitcher during pitching machine? Not much, but I was out there, man. And I gave it my best. I was a silver slugger. 310-840-4910. Let's go to Dallas. Let's take you to Dallas, where the wrong guy just got paid. Here is a mistake that could cost the Cowboys a Super Bowl. That is coming up next. It's Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Addie Bates produces. Laura Jimenez runs the board. 310-840-4910. The phone lines, the text line are open. Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. When we come back, the Cowboys dead. This is the Drake Toll Show.
She lives for me, says she lives for me, ovation. Who won't motivation? She comes round and she goes down on me. And I make you smile like a drug for you. Do ever what you wanna do, coming over you. Keep on smiling what we go through. One stop to the rhythm that divides you. And I speak to you like the chorus to the verse. Drop another line like a coda with the curse. Coming like a freak show takes the stage. We give them the game she plays. She say, I want something else to get me through this semi-time kind of life. Baby, baby, I want something else. I'm not listening when you say goodbye. The sky was gold, it was rose. I was taking sips of it to my nose, and I wish I could get back there, someplace back there, smiling in the pictures you would take. To a crystal meth, I'll lift you up until you break. It won't stop. I won't come down and keep stop with the tick-tock rhythm. I bumped for the drop and then I bumped up. I took the hit that I was given, then I bumped again, then I bumped again. I said, how do I get back there to the place where I fell asleep inside you? How do I get myself back to the place where you said, I want something else to get me through this semi-time kind of life. Baby, baby, I want something else. I'm not listening when you say goodbye. I believe in the sand beneath my toes. The beach gives a feeling, energy feeling. I believe in the faith that grows, and the full I go can make me cry. When I'm with you, I feel like I could die, and that would be alright, alright. And when the plane came in, she said she was crossing the velvet ribbons in the sea. We tripped on the earth to feel alive, and now I'm struggling to survive those days you were wearing that velvet dress. You're the priestess, I must confess. Those little red panties, they passed the test. So I took around the belly, face down on the mattress one, and you hold me, and we are broken. Still it's all I wanna do, just to live, and I feel myself heavy off the ground. I'm scared, I'm not coming down. No, no, and I won't run from my life. She's got the toss down, locked down in a smile, but nothing is alright, alright. I want something else to get me through this life. Baby, I want something else. Not listening when you say
Quinnen Williams just got paid. Well, I mean, he's already getting paid. He got an extension to get paid for longer for the Dallas Cowboys, and it's a very franchise-friendly deal. This is friendly to the Dallas Cowboys. This will not take a hit on their cap until 2028. The window to win now is still plenty open. Oh, and by the way, Dak Prescott's contract is up in 2028. So then you can start thinking about like shuffling and we could really get in the weeds of this Quinnen Williams deal if you want to, but that's not the first thing I think about. And you know what? Your first thought when Quinnen Williams, the star defensive tackle for the Dallas Cowboys, signs this 3-year extension where he'll be in Dallas through 2030. Worth $105 million. Your first thought might just be, wow, what does this do for Quinnen Williams and the Dallas Cowboys? Does it give me, this is the boost he needed. Hey, you're our guy. Long term, and now this is the second largest deal ever signed by a defensive tackle. But that's not where my mind goes. My mind goes elsewhere for the Dallas Cowboys, who just paid Quinnen Williams. And I asked the question, I say, hey, Jerry, you already knew that Quinnen Williams was under contract through 2027. My question would be, George Pickens has been franchise tagged. How can you get a deal done with Quinnen Williams, who didn't need a deal done right now? And I commend you. Jerry. It's a good deal. It's franchise friendly. I commend you. But how are you going to pay that guy when George Pickens is standing over there in the corner saying, hey, whoop, hey, it's me, George Pickens over here. Hi. I did catch for nearly 1,500 yards last year, 93 receptions, and 9 touchdowns. I'm a bona fide certified wide receiver 1 in the National Football League, and for you, I will be your wide receiver 2 behind CeeDee Lamb, but you've got to pay me. You have got to give me money. And Jerry's been like, oh, I don't know about all that. So over here, we paid Quinnen Williams, but we're playing chicken with one of the best wide receivers, a top 10 wide receiver in the National Football League, 25-year-old George Pickens. Why? Now, the last time we heard Jerry Jones talk about the contract for George Pickens and how he felt about the franchise tag and whether or not George Pickens is a long-term option, Jerry's not the guy to trifle with right now. Jerry's not the guy who it's his way. Believe it or not, it's Jerry Jones' way. And he's been frustrated with questions about George Pickens. Jerry has never loved, I've never heard him once give me the sweet embrace, this loving, longing embrace around George Pickens and how he needs to be a Dallas Cowboy and how valuable Pickens is. No, Jerry plays chicken with the George Pickens topic. Let's take you back to the last time Jerry talked about the contract for George Pickens, the franchise tag, about George Pickens' money in general. Jerry?
Well, I don't and won't get into our planning and structure of our team and our cap, but the franchise tag is an integral part of all teams, but certainly an integral part of our strategy over the next 2 or 3 years as we look at how to keep the best players we can have.
Hey, Jerry, Drake Toll here, Westwood One Sports, the Westwood One Sports app. You would think that a guy like George Pickens, who just had a career year for you and is a bona fide wide receiver 1, and even in CeeDee Lamb's absence was a guy who picked up the slack for the offense to help Dak Prescott look really. You would think you'd pay that guy. I'll shut up and listen. And then Jerry's response is, well, the franchise tag's valuable. We like to, utilize that in the National Football League. It has its place, and so we're gonna go put that in there. And we're not gonna get into cap details. Jerry, you didn't answer why aren't you paying George Pickens long term? And maybe the answer, if you follow the National Football League the last 4 years, if you follow college football, maybe the answer is obvious to you. I know the first thing that came to my head when I think about George Pickens not getting a payday, when I think about the Cowboys being hesitant, I kind of get it. Because when I think about the name George Pickens, the first thing I think is hothead, troublemaker, violent. George Pickens is too much of a Rembrandt. And I can back that up. That's not me saying that as I'm categorizing him in something that he doesn't deserve to be put in. No, George Pickens has proven those words correct in the past. May I take you back to 2019 when he was in college and George Pickens got into a fight during Georgia's last game of the season, their rivalry game with Georgia Tech. And he punched a Georgia Tech defensive back, Trey Swilling. Pickens would be suspended for the SEC championship game. 2023, that's a Pittsburgh Steeler. Second NFL season. He was repeatedly fined for unnecessary roughness, taunting, and a pair of fines that totaled $17,000 in one game against the LA Rams. Reports indicated that in total in 2023, his season fines cost him more than six figures. 2024, still with Pittsburgh. Ongoing scrutiny for his emotional volatility. He was fined for wearing unapproved eye black that had an expletive message on it. Face mask penalties. On-field helmet removal. Post-game skirmish with Cleveland Browns cornerback Greg Newsome. Even the Steelers coach Mike Tomlin said that Pickens, quote, has to grow up in a hurry. But then something happened. It's like George Pickens moved to Dallas, and all of a sudden George Pickens became a nice guy. It is the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, 310-840-4910. We're asking this question. If Quinnen Williams just got paid, if Quinnen Williams just got a 3-year extension for $105 million, why has George Pickens not been paid, a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL? Why are the Dallas Cowboys not doled out for George Pickens? 310-840-4910 to the Cowboys. Pay the wrong guy. Well, since Pickens got to Dallas, he's been a good boy. I mean, don't take my word for it. Take C.D. Lamb's word for it. You would think that he'd be a bit frustrated. Maybe you'd be a bit frustrated if you walk in the office and there's a new hotshot across the room in the sales office who's selling just as much as you, if not more. And you say, whoa, hey, the new guy's really good, but I'm intimidated by that. You would think that maybe C.D. Lamb would feel a bit jealous that Pickens gets so much attention. But no, C.D. Lamb has been the biggest advocate in the world. Been the biggest advocate in the world for paying George Pickens. Here is C.D. Lamb saying, get that man a bag. He's not a character issue.
Bro, he's not a crash until he has a reason. I swear. He's a good dude. He's literally funny all the time, bro. He's funny all the time. Until he feels like, all right, somebody's trying to play with me. And then that's when you get the NFL young boy. And all.
Yeah. George Pickens is a nice guy. He's a culture guy. He's just fine until you force his hand. And then any of us can snap. C.D. Lamb has also been quoted as saying, I'm sure we can make a way. Listen, this is my advocation. Jerry, can you please figure out a way? Let's figure it out. I don't care what needs to happen. He wants, C.D. Lamb wants George Pickens paid. I don't have any ego here. I want to win. So you've heard Jerry say, well, the franchise tag is a valuable thing. We could use that on Pickens. You've heard CD say, go pay my man. Please pay my boy. Jerry, please. So wait a second. We're missing a pretty key cog here. What would George Pickens say about, he's not holding in at training camp after the franchise tag. He's not holding out for a deal. George Pickens is just putting his nose to the grindstone. One of our affiliates with Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, 105.3 The Fan in Dallas, had George Pickens on, and George had this to say after other guys like Zay Flowers and Drake London are getting paid in the NFL. He's not even jealous of those dudes. He's happy for them and saying that he's just playing football right now.
I feel like that's nice. I honestly feel like that's nice. Me personally, I think I kind of like the world speak for me, but me personally, I think I'm definitely in that range or above. Okay. But definitely for him and Lamar, and they lost Likely and how their whole deal is going, I feel like that's good for him.
We were worried about maybe not getting to see out here. Like, was there any serious talk about like a hold-in situation?
No, not really. Just more of because I was just focused on coming with the guys. Yeah. I kind of let my agent kind of do all of that. Sure. I was kind of really locked in on the guys because I don't want to be focused on that. Then they're focused on that because some of them still are. Yeah. And then no one's focused.
Pickens is happy with the Zay Flowers deal. Happy for Zay Flowers. Thinks, hey, I think I'm in that same range. But you know what? I'll let my agent figure this out. I'm here to play football. Does that sound like a troublemaker? Does that sound like a culture issue, a locker room cancer? What if Quinnen Williams just got paid and the Dallas Cowboys are balking on giving a payday to George Pickens because he's a culture issue. But come to find out, he's just not. That he's turned it around, and the Dallas Cowboys are missing out on a bona fide wide receiver 1 who can be your wide receiver 2 because CeeDee Lamb is that good. Did the Dallas Cowboys just pay the wrong guy? 310-840-4910. The phone lines are open. Calls coming in. We talked a bit of the WNBA a second ago during our Idiots of the Day and how the marketing around Caitlin Clark has not been great, and now there are former NBA players who are declaring for the WNBA draft. All of this is a big crapshoot. Let's take it out to the phone lines. 310-840-4910. We have Bruce. Bruce, you're on the Drake Toll Show.
Hey, Drake, how you doing? I just want to have a few comments about the WNBA. I think that the WNBA is cannibalizing itself by allowing Caitlin Clark to be beaten up every night on the court by a bunch of thuggish players when she's their biggest ticket seller, biggest TV ratings draw, biggest revenue producer. And they're just relegating themselves to the ash can of being AAA basketball, which they are, much like MLS soccer or the lacrosse league, NLL, I don't know what it's called, and other soccer leagues. They're relegating themselves to that by the way they allow Caitlin Clark to get beaten up.
That is Bruce. Bruce, 310-840-4910. Held on the line there for over 15 minutes. Appreciate you holding there, Bruce. And as it pertains to Caitlin Clark, I mean, I can give you the flat numbers. 27% of revenue for the WNBA since her joining the league has been linked to Caitlin Clark. 27%. If a fourth of your league is paid for by Caitlin Clark. And in this case, man, and I know it might sound hollow coming from, it's coming from the straight white guy. Like Deion Sanders, he jolted the GDP of Boulder, Colorado when he became the head coach at Colorado by 33%. If Caitlin Clark is 27% of the WNBA's revenue, you would think they would dial into that, right? You would think they'd lean into that the same way that Colorado and Boulder have leaned into prime time and having Deion Sanders as the head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes, because Deion could lose the rest of his games. Caitlin Clark could lose the rest of her games. As long as you're bringing money and publicity to something, how are you losing with that? How are you going to lose with that? There are little girls across the world, black, white, in between, that love watching Caitlin Clark play basketball. And I think we miss the basketball side of it a lot. We miss it goes from basketball to what storyline can we dig out of the WNBA today that has anything to do with what's going on off the court rather than the actual gameplay itself. 310-840-4910. Again, your texts are still pouring in. This one says, Drake, great show as always. Yeah. Yes, thank you. Been a Cowboys fan since 1972, seen the good and the bad years. I was glad when Jerry brought the team and got Jimmy to coach it. Hated when the egos got in the way. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys should trade for Maxx Crosby. He needs to make it happen. Jerry needs to make it happen. Our defense has been bad for years. Whatever it takes. It's from Daryl in Mooresville, North Carolina. I made that case in the last hour that Maxx Crosby could be a trade piece for the Dallas Cowboys. And heck, you might send George Pickens. If the Cowboys are so out on George Pickens as a culture issue, you might send George Pickens to the Las Vegas Raiders to get Maxx Crosby. 2027 third-round pick and a George Pickens. 2028 second-round pick and George Pickens. Or a Malachi Lawrence, edge rusher, for a 2027 second-rounder and 2028 fourth-rounder. You send those guys, Malachi Lawrence, and 2 picks to get Maxx Crosby to the Dallas Cowboys. I think if Crosby, who got in a fight on Friday at training camp by hitting the quarterback, if Crosby's a problem for the Raiders and he wants to win now and the Dallas Cowboys need a better defense after a dismal showing in 2000. The Cowboys were only better than the Jets as it pertained to allowing passing touchdowns. Only better than the Jets. Do you know how bad you have to be to only be better than the Jets? Cowboys were 30th in total defense, dead last in passing defense, 23rd in rushing defense. You could use a Maxx Crosby. I think the Cowboys trading for him makes sense to me. This text says, Drake Toll Show, maybe the Cowboys paid Quinnen Williams before George Pickens to show Pickens this is the reward you can get when you're a professional and a good locker room guy. Stephen Jones, Jerry's son, and the EVP of the Cowboys did say Quinnen Williams earned this contract extension by being a great locker room piece, a stand-up guy, doesn't complain, lets his game speak for him. And through that, fans have derived that maybe Stephen was throwing some shade at George Pickens. Maybe Stephen was throwing some shade at Micah Parsons, the Cowboy who was traded to the Green Bay Packers. Maybe that was the true message. Read between the lines and see that the Dallas Cowboys paying Quinnen Williams shows that they'll reward you for being a culture piece of the Dallas Cowboys. It's Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. 310-840-4910. 310-840-4910. The phone line and the text line stays open. You know, there is trouble afoot. This team is going to win the NFC South and make a playoff run, but no one's talking enough about it. The voice of the NFL franchise will join us next. This is the Drake Toll Show. Super Bowls are seldom won and lost in the Hall of Fame game in Canton. But I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm not saying that it won't happen. And the Carolina Panthers took sports by storm last week. 7 million viewers for the Hall of Fame game where Haynes King puts the team on his back, wins the game for Carolina. And those 7 million viewers are more than any NHL game this year, more than any MLB game this year. The NFL is king. Even in the preseason, the NFL is king. And how do you keep from overreacting after a finish like that? Here he is. Anish Shroff joins the Drake Toll Show, the voice of the Carolina Panthers. Anish, thanks for the time up early with us this morning. And is it too pie in the sky? I mean, can fans buy into Carolina Panthers hype coming off of a preseason game? Because I love it.
I always laugh because we were joking about it too. You get to a point around this time of year, you're so starved for football that you are willing to go into your closet, pull out the jump to conclusions mat, and roll the dice, and you're going to jump as far as you can because we're just so starved for football. So we want to draw the largest conclusions from the smallest sample size. I think there were a lot of positives. I always kind of then bring it back and say the starters didn't play. The Cardinals didn't play their starters. I still think it's good to get excited about the Panthers given how last year ended and getting to the playoffs and the momentum they built. But I think you do have to pump the brakes just a little bit because it is preseason.
I mean, a week ago, I did not expect to be asking you about Haynes King in a hit like this, but he himself has kind of taken the world by storm in the last week, and it reminds me of that 8 overtime game against Georgia, his redshirt junior season at Georgia Tech, where it was the coming out party for Haynes King. America knew the name Haynes King going into his final college football season because of how he played against Georgia, the grit that he showed, and it took less than one regular season NFL game for the National Football League audience to be talking about Haynes King, and now the rumors of using him when he's back from injury as a Taysom Hill-like player, a Swiss Army knife. What can Haynes King do? I'm going to use that term again, kind of pie in the sky. What can Haynes King do to reinvigorate the Panthers as a multi-tool option?
I think there's a couple of things. One, they still view him as a developmental guy, somebody who may have a bright future as a quarterback. He's an undrafted free agent. I think after the Hall of Fame game, any chance of trying to hide Haynes King on a practice squad probably went out the window because 30 other teams watched, and even with the hamstring injury he's got now, and he probably won't play this weekend, he's still probably going to get picked up on somebody's 53 if he doesn't make the Panthers 53. But I think he's got a real shot. 3 quarterbacks being on the 53-man roster was always something that was feasible given the roster construction of this team. But you brought it up, and I brought it up during the radio broadcast, too, when he and Carson Beck were on the field at the same time. First time they shared the field since that 8 overtime game. He's been okay in camp, but when the lights go on, you learn something about a player. And Haynes King at Georgia Tech often had to be Superman just for that team to be competitive. They didn't have as much around Haynes King at Georgia Tech as Miami did around a Carson Beck or some of the other schools in the SEC or the ACC that were, in that contention realm. So, again, he's one of these guys, when the lights go on, he plays well. He's fast. I really like the way that offensive coordinator Brad Idzik called the game. Procedurally, they were getting things quick. They were putting the QB in his comfort zone. Hey, he's fast. Let's get him moving the pocket. Let's get him out on some boots. And he made some good throws on the run. And then on the last drive, made some huge plays with his feet. He opened a lot of eyes. And listen, if they take 2 quarterbacks, it does become a decision, right? Do you take a guy with Haynes King who has shown you some promise and flash in his preseason debut? He was on the field for 6 drives. The Panthers scored on 5 of those. The one where they didn't score, he handed the ball off twice, and the running back fumbled on the second handoff.
It was, again, I'll call it this coming out party for Haynes King to an NFL audience for what I think a lot of college football fans already knew. That's Haynes King in the grit department will not be outdone. He's Anish Sharaf, the voice of the Carolina Panthers, joining the Drake Toll Show, Westwood One Sports, at the Westwood One Sports app. All right, I asked you about the possible third-string quarterback before I asked you about the starting quarterback. That's how starved we were for
that's
football.
Where we are, right?
That's where we are. For Bryce Young, I mean, there are still one of my best friends in the world from Union, South Carolina, and he swears the last 2-3 years he's sworn it. I just don't think Bryce Young is the answer. Carolina obviously has bought into Bryce Young. Is there something to this season about a prove-it year that he is the franchise option for the future of the Carolina Panthers, or has Bryce Young already proven all he needs to?
No, it's certainly a prove-it year because they picked up his fifth-year option in the offseason. He does not have a contract beyond that fifth year. So Bryce Young, in many ways, is playing for his quarterback future with Carolina as well. If he plays well, then that extension is on the table. Again, just from reading the tea leaves, it just seems that the extension talks will probably be shelved until after the season. But Bryce Young has a chance to push that agenda forward. I've said this in the past. He walked into a situation as a rookie that was just awful, where you had coaching turmoil, you had coaching changes, you had play caller changes, and you had an offensive line, frankly, that was a sieve, and he didn't have very much around him. Year two, he gets humbled. He gets benched 2 games into the season, and then the redemption tour begins, and he got better toward the tail end of year 2, built on that last year. If he takes the next step, whatever that may be, but just that next step forward, I think the Panthers are a team that will be in the thick of things again. They were 8-9, made the playoffs last year. You're probably going to be right there for a division title or a playoff spot going into the last few games of the season if he takes that next step with what he has around him. If he can take that great leap, and that's where I think all of Panther Nation is holding their breath, because he is a number 1 pick. This isn't an undrafted free agent. Yeah. As a former number 1 pick, if that pedigree of being that franchise quarterback comes through, if he takes the great leap, forget playoffs, now you're in the contender tier. Now you're talking big money extension. And the last couple of years, the chatter around Bryce, well, we need to get him this, and we need to get him this, we need to get him this. What we have seen in OTAs and through camp, he's now more vocal. He's more confident. He's more assured in year 3 of this offense. And you're starting to see a guy who's making some really great throws, and you're starting to see a guy who's starting to elevate the guys around him. Because the narrative before was he needs all the stuff to bring out the best in him. Well, if you're that franchise quarterback, when things go off script and you have injuries, can you elevate the guys around you? And to me, that's what I'm watching for in 2026 with Bryce Young. Can he take that great leap? Is that great leap there? Because if it is, it changes the entire trajectory of this franchise.
He's the voice of the Panthers, Anish Sharaf, joining the Drake Toll Show on Westwood One Sports. And Anish, if you're the Arizona Cardinals, and this is not even close to apples, I don't want to use the NFC West as an example here. The Rams, the Seahawks, the Niners. Man, there's just no expectation. You know how good that division is, and for the Cardinals to rise up out of that would be brutally tough. And no one expects that. For the fact that Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers play in a division where Tampa has its question marks, where New Orleans, obviously, Atlanta, where every team has question marks, does it put more pressure on a guy like Bryce Young knowing the division is so wide open?
I don't know if it puts more pressure, because he's never been a guy to really acknowledge external pressure. He's very driven by his own internal process. And it's funny, I run into his parents on the road seemingly all the time, whether it's in the hotel lobby or in a restaurant. And, Dad, I think, is a psychologist. But I've had some conversations with them, and, it's funny, like, the dad is very much a alpha in the sense he likes to talk. Mom is more like the quiet, serene, listen process. And I asked them, I said, where does he get his personality? And they didn't even hesitate. They said, no, he's mom. He's got mom's personality, where he's not going to get overexcited. He doesn't care what the outside noise is. He has his own systems to block all that stuff out. But you're right. You look at the division. New Orleans lost Demario Davis. They've got a young quarterback who still has a lot to prove, an ascending team, but they're now just getting out of salary cap hell. You look at Tampa. Baker Mayfield is disgruntled. Vita Vea wants out. Mike Evans already left for San Francisco. And Atlanta, we get it. You're spending money on your receivers, your tight ends, now your running backs. You still don't have a quarterback, and you got two guys who are injury-prone. And for a while, you had an undrafted free agent taking first-team snaps. So this division hasn't changed in that it's still chaotic. And with what the Panthers have, even with some of the hits and injuries they've taken in camp, I got to imagine, they're going to be right there. And I got to imagine it's the NFC South, man. I've learned just when you think you know, you don't know.
Anish, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up this name to close us out here. And I'm going some roundabout way. So I moonlight as play-by-play in the Savannah Bananas organization, which, I mean,
I love it.
That comes with all of its own questions and lesser imps and demons. But Luke Kuechly is, I think, the loudest I've ever heard a stadium when a special guest came out. He threw out a first pitch for us in 2025. And you could feel like Luke Kuechly represents the heart of what the Carolina Panthers are, and that's me saying that. But from your perspective, a guy who was just inducted into the Hall of Fame and got his flowers, not just from the Panthers but from the football world this weekend, how much does that mean to Carolina?
It means a lot because he's the first player who spent his entire career with the Panthers to go into the Hall of Fame, right? Julius Peppers was drafted by the Panthers. Peppers, when he went in, was the first player drafted by the Panthers to go into the Hall of Fame, but had a couple other stops before he finished up with Carolina. So for Luke, he played 8 seasons, but they were 8 mostly brilliant seasons. And when you look in the stands, and he does games with us on the radio, he'll do about 12 regular season games again this year. I look down, and you see 59 jerseys all over. He's arguably the most popular player with the fan base in the history of the franchise. It's a young franchise, and there have been some great players. But as great as Cam Newton was, there was a polarizing aspect to Cam. I've lived in Charlotte for 15 years. This will be year 5 working with the Panthers, year 5 working with Luke. I have yet to find anybody who's got a bad thing to say about Luke Kuechly. And I'll give you 2 quick stories. After our second season working together, I texted Luke and I said, "Hey, give time to go get lunch. I want to watch tape with you if that's cool." He goes, "Yeah, let's do it." So we turn on the tape, and it was the All-22 from a Falcons game the year before. Yeah. And I've watched tape with a bunch of guys doing college and NFL, working for ESPN, a lot of football guys. And some of the subtleties that he's picking up on, you feel like you're sitting next to a Daniel Negreanu or a poker player. These little tells. And I remember going back to some of the football analysts who I respect and that I've worked with over the years, and I said, "Hey, I was watching tape with Luke. These were a few things that he was picking up on." And all of them go, "Yeah, that's not normal." Like most guys don't see it that way. And the ability to marry what he sees on film with what he sees on the field in real time, react to it, was tremendous. And then the part that nobody sees but makes Luke Luke. So when we get done calling games on the road, we have this giant metal crate. We have to pack it up with all the radio equipment, and then it gets wheeled through the bowels of whatever stadium that we're in onto the loading dock. You know who wheels this giant metal crate? Luke Kuechly. Wow. And I can't tell you how many times he's pushing this crate through the Superdome or Mercedes-Benz Stadium or wherever we are. And it might be a kitchen crew. It might be security. It might be staff. They'll be walking by. They'll turn their head, be like, "Hey, I think that was no. Hey, was that Luke? No, it's not Luke Kuechly. Keep walking." And that's the stuff nobody sees. But that's the type of teammate he is. It's the type of guy he is. And he's become a friend. And I can't be happier for him. His speech, if you heard it, was about everybody except himself, which was vintage Luke.
Yeah. That's for all of the STAA, Syracuse, Missouri, for all the young aspiring play-by-play cats out there. You still have to push the metal crate, even when you're broadcasting in the NFL. There's still the packing up and the pushing out.
Even when you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, even when you're Luke Kuechly, you still got to pack everything up and haul it out of there. Anish, appreciate your perspective on Kuechly's induction and on the Carolina Panthers going into this season. Have a great season of calls to @SchroffPXP on Twitter, and you can see him on ESPN Weekly as well. Anish, I so appreciate you being up early with us and giving us your time.
I appreciate it. Take care, guys. See you.
Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, a prove-it year. Can he earn a long-term contract in Carolina? We will see a month from now, opening day of the NFL football season. The Carolina Panthers are slated now. They got some bad news. Luther Burden out for the Chicago Bears, but expects to be back for the regular season opener against those Panthers when they square off Chicago and Carolina week 1. Hey, Odell Beckham Jr. is still in the NFL. He needs to retire. Odell Beckham Jr., this has gone too far. It is time for Odell Beckham Jr. to retire now. Otherwise, his franchise is going to force him to retire. That's up next. It's Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. This is the Drake Toll Show.
insurance, rip off flying, FDA, big bank is buying, fake computer crashes, dying, cloning, well, they're multiplying. Fashion shoes with Beckett Hansen, Courtney Love and Marilyn Manson. You're all bakes, run to your mansions, come around, we'll kick your asses.
Hang it up. Retire. I'm done with Odell Beckham Jr. I don't think it should be like this either. Like, I didn't like the end of Old Yeller when Old Yeller died. That wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy it. But I mean, Old Yeller, I mean, he had to go. He had rabies, right? I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for you, but at the end of Old Yeller, context. It's a movie. It's a book. The end of Old Yeller, the dog, this white lab, has to die. And it's not fun. Nobody likes when the dog dies. Nobody likes when the family has to kill it because it has rabies and it's barking everywhere. Nobody likes when we have to kill off Odell Beckham Jr. in the NFL. But dead today, Odell Beckham Jr.'s NFL career. OBJ is a current member, well, trying to be, a member of the New York Giants. 310-840-4910. And it's going so poorly that he is now in a position battle with Braxton Berrios and a guy you've never heard of, Dalen Cambry. Credit to Dalen Cambry, who I don't know if Dalen Cambry or anybody else in Cambry's camp thought that the 25-year-old from St. Thomas More Catholic High School would be in a conversation for wide receiver roster spot next to Odell Beckham Jr. The former Louisiana Ragin' Cajun, to be exact, Dalen Cambry. It has gotten that sad in OBJ's career that he's competing with two players for a final roster spot, says a Giants insider. This is coming from ESPN's Jordan Renan. That those two guys are, Cambry Berrios, are the ones in the hunt with OBJ. Now, look, Braxton Berrios has had a fine NFL career. 91 games that he's played. Got 140 receptions and 1,300 yards. I mean, he's been around the league for a little bit. So I'll give him that. Braxton Berrios can have that. But Odell Beckham Jr. got old, and instead of knowing when to bow out of the National Football League, Odell Beckham Jr. is just still hanging around. It reminds me a bit, and I brought this up last week. Randy Moss retired after 2010. He spent 2011 off, comes back in 2012 to play for the San Francisco 49ers. Do you know why you don't remember Randy Moss playing for the San Francisco 49ers? Because he sucked. Because he wasn't good. He had like 350 receiving yards and was a shell, 3 touchdowns, a shell of what you know about Randy Moss. That team went to the Super Bowl. And you forget that Moss was a member of the roster because Randy Moss wasn't Randy Moss. And Odell Beckham Jr., what's worse, is only 33 years old. But you've done enough, old chap. Hey, the race is run. We'll see you in Valhalla. We have the watch. Now, John Harbaugh, the new head coach of the New York Giants, said this is a conversation with John Harbaugh where he said, quote, you know, I've got a really good relationship with OBJ, and I don't want you to be in New York and not make the team. So Harbaugh's the guy who says, hey, I don't. If you're going to come here, I want you to be on the team. And I can live with you coming here, giving your best effort, but I need you to be, I want you to be on the team. I want you to be a member of our team. John, you're the one who got him back there, and now you got this guy fighting for a roster spot, Odell Beckham Jr., the legend. He's won a Super Bowl, 3-time Pro Bowler. The legend Odell Beckham Jr. is competing with old man Braxton Berrios and Dalen Cambry for a roster spot in the National Football League. Just retire. Don't do this for shame. The last time we heard from Odell Beckham Jr. was late last week. Here's what he had to say on how he feels about his opportunity to possibly play in the National Football League for the Giants this year.
You know, you're just finding ways to dig through. You keep building up your threshold. But like I told you before, it's like I kind of had 2 years off, you know, and that time was spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it was. Like I got time to like heal. So I feel good. At the end of the day, there's no football shape until you get to like week 3, 4. Like everybody's tired after you run 4 plays in a row. So just finding ways to stay on top of all the other things, you know, outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, does that sound like a guy who's hungry to be back in the NFL? Yeah, I feel like I got a couple years off, and I just want to play hard and make the best of it. 33 years old. You didn't play in 2025. You were ineffective in Miami. Wait, Odell played for Miami? Yes, in the same way that Randy Moss was a member of the 49ers, Odell Beckham Jr. played in Miami. You may forget the OBJ era of Miami football. The Rams era, you won your Super Bowl. He was a Raven and then a Miami Dolphin. And as a Miami Dolphin, the reason you probably forgot that, he had 9 receptions in his 9 games there for 55 yards. I picked up in 2024, I picked up Odell Beckham Jr. on my fantasy team because I was like, oh my gosh, it's Odell Beckham Jr. Come on, I'll take him with an 11th round pick. Yeah. 9 receptions, 18 targets for 55 yards. Odell Beckham Jr. His last 1,000-yard season was 2019. He's a decade removed from his most recent Pro Bowl appearance. That's the Odell Beckham Jr. we're talking about. 33 years old. That's not that old. Man, if you're a defensive lineman at 33, an offensive lineman at 33, man, get your ass out there. Hey, we're playing ball. If you're Odell Beckham Jr., you can hang it up. 575 career receptions, 8,000 yards, 59 touchdowns. He had double-digit touchdowns each of his first 3 years in the NFL as a member of the New York Giants. His rookie season, he had 1,300 receiving yards. I mean, he was doing stupid stuff with the Giants his first 3 years. 1,300 yards, 1,450, 1,350. That's his output, alongside 35 touchdowns his first 3 seasons combined. He was a monster. Over 4,000 yards and 35 touchdowns in his first 3 seasons in the NFL. Then between injuries piling up, a stint in Cleveland that was just okay, going to the Rams and kind of being carried to a Super Bowl. Like he only had 48 targets in that campaign with the Rams. You just don't need to force the issue anymore. And if your name's Odell Beckham Jr., if you're the old dog, if you're the end of the movie and you're old yeller and you have rabies, at some point, do you want the farmer to have to come out back and do it? Do you want the franchise to have to cut? Do you want the Giants to have to cut Odell Beckham Jr.? Or do you want to just go to the podium and say, hey, you know what? I had a great run. I had a lot of fun in the NFL. I made my money. I did my time. And now I'm done. See you later. A guy who at one point in time seemed like a shoo-in for Hall of Fame. First 3 years in the NFL, this is going to be one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. And then it never worked out. I told you, he had 35 touchdowns his first 3 seasons in the National Football League. In the rest of his career from 2017 to 2025, he had 24 touchdowns. Did you hear that? First 3 seasons in the league, 35 touchdowns. Then from 2017 to 2024, he had 24 combined. Not good. The decline of Odell Beckham Jr. should not end in the New York Giants cutting him for Braxton Berrios. It should end in Odell Beckham Jr. saying, I'm retiring. Thanks, OBJ, for a hell of a career. 310-840-4910. Phone lines, text lines still open. They'll be open all day tomorrow as well. It's Tuesday, meaning it's time for our Dead or Alive. Laura Jimenez versus Addie Bates. Are these famous people dead or alive? Laura.
Yeah.
Dead or alive, Jerry Falwell.
Dead. I don't know who that man is.
Addie.
Who is that?
Jerry Falwell, Liberty. He's the pastor of Thomas Road Baptist Church in Lynchburg, Virginia.
What?
Oh, dead.
He is dead. Falwell was the founder of Liberty University. R.I.P. in peace. Had some interesting skeletons in that closet. Died in 2007. Yep, the age of 73. All right, dead or alive, Laura. Ian McDiarmid, actor, Return of the Jedi.
Alive.
Addie.
Well, I guess I'll kill him then if she's saying alive.
Ian is alive.
Dang, sorry, Ian.
He's in Return of the Jedi. Doesn't say who he played. 82 years old. Happy birthday today, Ian. Hey, Addie. Marilyn Vos Savant.
What does she do?
She's a columnist. She is in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the world's highest IQ. Well, second highest IQ to Micah Parsons.
I'm going to kill her.
Laura.
I will also kill her.
Oh, smart people never die. 80 years old for Marilyn Vos Savant. She's a popular columnist, by the way. Steve Wozniak. Addie, Steve Wozniak.
Alive.
Oh, Laura.
Also alive.
Yeah, co-founder of Apple. He is alive. All right, last one. Laura, Alex Haley wrote the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Dead.
Addie?
I have that book right here. I could look. He's alive. Oh.
Dead. Yep. Also, helped write the autobiography. I should be very clear there. And, dead. Died in 1992. Because the autobiography would have been Malcolm X.
Well, he helped put it together.
Who did that. And then he put it, and then it did the.
Mm-hmm.
Addie Bates produces. Laura Jimenez runs the board. To Armin Williams, Colin Jones, Bruce Gilbert, and Ryan McGuire, thank you for a job. It's Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You Better You Bet is coming up for the next 3 hours. We'll see you tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Time. This has been, and it always will be, on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Love ya. The Drake Toll Show.
This is Westwood One Sports.